Hello everyone, and welcome back to the channel. JC here with another video on Action Taimanin. Today we're finally doing the tier list for 2025, but before we start, don't forget to leave a like, share, and subscribe if you enjoy the content. So it's been a busy month, you may have noticed because of the lack of uploads, but I've been preparing to move out, that's why. But this one is really important. I know that the tier list is a special video that people check because you have to you get to see what each character is going to do, how they perform, what you can do with them. So let's talk about all of these characters. And well, a couple things to mention. So we have three tier list: farming tier list, solo content, and team content. The performance varies depending on a lot of factors, but I'm going to do kind of an average on the evaluation. For example, if a character is really good, but only with one particular set because of one weapon, they're not going to be that great on the grade because uh, overall they don't do well with everything else on their that they had available. So that's something to take into consideration. So we're gonna be evaluating all of the characters, all the 41 characters. So let's get right into it. And I'm not gonna limit myself to uh, just PP gear. I'm gonna evaluate everything, okay, in general. But the remember the grade is gonna be kind of an average. And one more thing to mention. Previously, I was doing outstanding, great, average, and suboptimal, but now I'm adding the category meta. Many characters do pretty good, but with the huge changes that have occurred to the game, considering the new standard for damage after the renewal of Sora, it is important to just divide these categories. So, well, let's start with farming. Asagi. Asagi isn't exactly great at farming. So, this is a single target character who specializes on controlling the enemy and dealing a decent amount of damage, but only to one enemy. She doesn't have great AoEs, and the weapons don't help her that much on that department. I mean, we do have Dawnbringer that cast a light when using Senjinka, but that's not gonna help that much. So, what does she have in regards to farming? Well, she has Senjinka, which is gonna be just 3 hits. It teleports you next to the enemy, which is appreciated, but again, it's only 3 hits. You get 1 additional hit on green, and well, that's it. And not that great for farming. Depends on the amount of enemies, honestly. Shunshinka is another good farming skill, but this is going to be great only for melee enemies. If you're facing range enemies on a big stage, that's not gonna help you that much. That's why we use Senjinka to track them down. But she doesn't have that many range attacks, so yeah, she's gonna go to suboptimal. This is a great character, but she's not exactly good at farming. When what is the goal here, so that you understand what this particular tickler is going to be asking for? You don't want to think and you just want to button smash. That's the standard for farming. Obviously, you don't want to think. You just let the game do its thing and you farm there's no end to it. So yeah, Asagi is not that great on that. Sakura, on the other hand, is a little bit better. Not the greatest, but a little bit better. She has Nether Dive, not the biggest AoE, but usable. And she also has Shadow Cleave, which is going to deal a ton of damage. It lasts for a while and it's going to track the enemies. If you have the limited weapon, that's going to continue, but it consumes particles. But even so, that's pretty good. Let's see. What else do we have? Do we have another skill weapon that helps with farming? Not particularly. Let's see. We also have, if I'm not mistaken, Shadow Shift. This is not a damaging skill, but it is good for farming because you teleport next to the enemy. As I mentioned, when you have ranged attackers or the stage is super big, teleporting skills are extremely useful. And Shadow Fling, which is going to track the enemies, though it doesn't deal the best damage. So I would say she's average just because of the teleporting skills. And the continuous damage is also pretty good. Oh, I almost forgot about Shadow Claw. This one has a big AoE and it deals a tremendous amount of damage. It's also pretty good. So, as you can see, she has more skills that can be used for farming than Asagi. So, she gets to the average section. Even so, she's not that great, as you can see, because of the score. And that's because you have to go after the enemy. If you have to move to the enemy, instead of just casting your skill to delete them, that's not great. Yuki is suboptimal. Let me explain. Basically, there's this thing about Yuki. Let's change that custom. Which one? It's Rajudan. Rajudan is an okay skill to deal with multiple enemies. The issue is that you need to position properly and cast the skill on the right time, luring the enemy so that they get hit by the balls. So you need to think about what you're doing, and that's not exactly what I call farm friendly. Okay. The other one that is useful is Ryun, but similar to the awakening skill for Asagi, you need to be, the enemies have to be melee and they have to come next to you so that you can use this effectively. It doesn't have a big AoE. The basics for Yuki and most of her skills, honestly, have an awkward range. It's not wide enough. She's not fast enough. She isn't, her range attacks are not long enough. She's kind of between long range and mid range. So, yeah. Yuki needs a rework, a very hefty rework. And then we have Rinko. So Rinko, I would put her on great. Let me explain why. So Rinko has Wind Slicer, which is pretty good for dealing with waves of enemies. She also has Meteor Impact. And basically that's about it for the skills. The AoE is big, it has a good amount of multi-hit and damage. That's appreciated, but it's only 2 skills. Then why put her on great? Special Rift. The ability to pull the enemies so that you can actually abuse your AoEs is extremely useful. That's the reason why she is on great, basically. Even though she's prone to interruption, it's just fine for the most part. You can also use Mugen Hyoi to deal with those annoying enemies that are far away from you. Let's see. Immediately after finish, teleport into the gap between enemies. Yeah, this one is not that great as a teleporter, but that's another thing. Rinko is going to struggle a little bit with ranged attackers, but the pulling effect can do the difference. My god. Okay, so Murasaki isn't that great for farming. She has a niche, but she's not that great. Let me explain. Basically, the best farming skill is gonna be Setsuga, and that's it. You have Tentacle Anchor to get near the enemy, okay? You have Tentacle Hold to deal with a wave of enemy because of the wide range, though you need a lot of damage to be able to kill with this skill, keep that in mind. Rengenki is awful for farming. Tentacle Mine can be used for farming because of Coral Cliff. So, the thing is that she is a very slow attacker and that doesn't help her. So I'll put her on average because of the amount of skills and the weapon that she has on her kit, basically. She reaches average but just barely, honestly. So it's outstanding. I mean, obviously she's outstanding. She's super good for farming. Let me elaborate as usual. So she doesn't excel on the weapons department, but she has the skills. She has a tracking skill with Kokyuryuha, and she also has another tracking skill and teleporter with Senrenka. That's pretty good. Ryu Hashin is extremely good because it's going to cast an AoE attack, a dragon that goes in front and deals damage. You have to position properly. But it's pretty good, honestly. Sorry, since I'm moving out, I'm on an improvised desk, so if you hear noise, maybe it's me hitting the desk. So let's see. What else does she has? Of course, Nakuryu. So this one is extremely good because it pulls the enemies to your position, and then you jump and you go down and you deal an AoE around the impact area. And it's extremely good for dealing with waves of enemies, especially when the stage is small. This one is for small stages, this one is for big stages, for big stages. But you have such a good amount of skills. And not to mention the counter, Shojin Kyaku. Shojin Kyaku is going to be a counter that deals as a medium-sized AoE attack surrounding you. And again, for small stages with melee characters, this is going to be extremely useful. So yeah, she's pretty good. Okay, maybe average. I wouldn't say great. Let's see. So, in regards to the weapons, she does have two weapons basically to take into consideration. This one, the Dawn of the Punisher, and the other one, which I definitely have on the armory, the Tiger Tooth. I don't remember that. The one that transforms your red skill into a tiger, and that's going to increase the AOE of Senko, but it's still not that great for farming. What skills does she have? So she has Yugen Goku, but Yugen Goku has this awkward situation where it has some spaces in between the skill, basically only where the spears are going to deal damage, and there's enough space for the enemy to avoid them, some enemies to avoid the damage, so that can be really awkward. We also have Sogetsuin, pretty good skill for the most part. It doesn't deal the most damage, but it can deal with the enemies. And we have Rondo. Rondo is pretty good. The AoE is huge and the damage is decent. And then we have Shinen Shinsoku. That one is nice because you just do a perfect dodge and you're going to automatically attack the enemies next to you. And the same can be said about Genejin, which can be abused with the weapon. But honestly, I wouldn't put this on great. It's just average. For a character, I mean, Shirano really needs a rework. She's just a bit stick with no appeal at all, other than than the model. Okay, do I need to say this? I mean, she's an auto farmer. What's better than not pressing any button? It's just that great. Let's see. The farming department, I think that Kurenaya stays on average. For weapons, we do have one honorable mention in the form of Dainsleaf, but this is only going to be effective with enemies that get near you, melee enemies, that means. Then, for skills, we have Gale Slash, which has a small caveat. You have to use this skill after another skill or a basic chain, which is not that great, but well, you can do it. We also have Stormfang, which pulls the enemies and deals damage. That's amazing for farming. And that's about it. Those are the two skills that you want to use for farming. You can use Kamitachi just as extender so that you go into Gale Slash. It's just not extender, a stepping stone to get into Gale Slash. You Stormfang, Gale Slash, Kamitachi, Gale Slash, Stormfang, Gale Slash, and so on and so on. Storm Zone. It looks like a skill that you would like to use against multiple enemies, but it's technically a single target skill. It can deal hits to multiple enemies, but it's supposed to deal single target damage, so it's not that great. So yeah, not the best skills. Well, there's Tornado Render, but it's pretty awful for the most part. Uh, it's similar to Yuki's skill. You have to position yourself properly, you have to lure the enemies, and they must be melee enemies on top of that. So, yeah. So, average it is. Oboro. Oboro, would I say great or outstanding for Oboro? On the weapon department, there's one weapon to take into consideration, and that's the limited weapon. This one is going to extend the duration of a Bloodstorm, which is the Beyblade attack. And Beyblade attacks are pretty good for farming, as usual. So Bloodstorm, you can use for farming. Blooming Carnage, you can use for farming. Wicked Slasher, you can use for farming. Flash Step is a teleporter, which is useful for farming again. And Vicious Slash, not my favorite. The renewal did dirty on this one because it was a great selfish damage dealing skill, but now it's a supportive skill. But it deals good damage and at least good enough for dailies. So yeah, you can use that. Okay, I think she reaches great but barely, basically because of the new utility of Vicious Slasher, because you can pull all the enemies and then you just do Wicked Slasher or Blooming Carnage or Bloodstorm. Yeah. Well, in any case, let's just put her on outstanding. Yeah, it is easy to use and it has a teleporter. Yeah, I was reconsidering, but no, it's fine. Asuka. So Asuka gets hard carried on this department by some skills. For example, Mac Impact, well, pretty good skill. The AoE in front is not that great. It's just a cone. Killable Missiles is nice because it's a tracking skill, but it usually works as a single target skill. It can hit multiple enemies, but it's not designed to just kill them. A Mag Punch, not that great. This one is pretty good for farming. Bomb Escape too. Wind Slicer is also pretty good. Rendering Storm can be used for farming, but it's like not the best. Dust Cyclone can reduce the distance between you and the enemy, so it's appreciated, and it creates an AoE in front of you that is going to constantly deal damage, and that can be useful for farming, but it's kind of niche. I would say she's great because of Slicer Zone. This one is the one that makes her a really good farmer. Combined with Bomb Escape and Wind God, it is just the right combination of skills. Even so, I want to put her on outstanding, because she does have a natural teleporter that you can abuse, and the basics, even though they are ranged, they are not super long range, but they are long enough for mid-size stages. Kirara, I think she's pretty bad for farming, if I'm not mistaken. She has two skills to take into consideration for farming. It's basically Glacial Drop, and if I'm not mistaken, a Snow Veil. God, that's bad. Snow Veil, the issue is that you stay in place, and the range is not exactly like extremely long. It is longer now, but not the longest. So, average? Oh no! I almost forgot about her speed. Her speed is atrocious for this role. So, no, she stays on suboptimal for farming. It's unfortunate, but it is what it is. Ingrid, either great or outstanding. Why so? Ingrid has a teleporter that deals damage, which attack multiple enemies on top of that. She also has an AoE killing area, which is awful, which is excellent, and she also has Dark Flame. Again, these skills are not the best because you have to do positioning properly and then you cast the skill and lure the enemy, but these two skills carry her, definitely. Um, Everything else is not that great for farming. Um, I mean, this one would be great if it was faster. I'll never forget that renewal they did. But well, I think good teleporter. No, yeah, she goes to outstanding, I think. I mean, because meta is just gonna demolish everything, so she goes there. The teleporter is really significant. Let's see. Noah. Noah has a couple things for farming. Harpy's Dream deals good damage, but the AoE in front is not the best. Though the enemies are all going to go in front of this character, and she can reposition once she eliminates the enemies. Mandy is super useful for farming, especially with the pulling capability, but only if the enemies are melee. If they are ranged, then it's not the greatest. Uh, Sinister Living Dummy, usable for farming, not the greatest, but usable. Amanda's Excel, pretty good for farming. Like this follow-up attack is super good. The AoE to every direction is really nice. And there's of course Caroline's Malice. She's great. The issue is she's not that good farming against ranged attackers. That's what prevents her from going to outstanding. The teleporters are helping these three, you know? Obviously, meta, you just push one button, move your stick, and that's it. That's all you need to do. So, I mean, need I say more? You have the long basic attack, the short basic attack if you have insane damage. You have the insane mobility of this character, this huge AoE, this tracking attack. You have so many things with Astro. It's just amazing. Let's see. On top of that, we have Tokiko. Tokiko is outstanding, no doubt about that. So, what does Tokiko do? So, number one, she has Aurora. Let's see. Enemies hit by the transform grenade have increased damage taken. No, this one is not. It was the buff. It was the leader skill. What changed? Fan. So Fan has piercing capabilities and is going to do throw all kunais at nearest enemy. This property is going to do is going to make the kunais focus one enemy, and they're going to do a fan once it hits behind the enemy. They're going to do a fan. So though that fan is going to hit all the enemies behind, which is good. Magpie, oh well, the piercing capability is extremely good for farming because you hit multiple enemies. Magpie is super good for that. Stone Pierce is super good for farming. You need a ton of damage to make this one useful, but you have a very big AoE. Clairvoyance to auto attack, Squall to deal damage to the surrounding enemies, Smashing Spree to just teleport and insta kill the enemies, Blast to deal huge damage and track the enemies, Fan, as I mentioned. I mean, the piercing is carrying this character. Even though she has some good skills, the piercing gives her an extra boost that reaches outstanding. What is a meta for this one? Yeah, I'll be generous and I'll give her meta. Why so? Planting bait. Basically, that's it. This skill has such a huge AoE that it doesn't matter what you do, you're gonna hit the enemy with this. Look at that range. Yeah, basically that's it. Meta. She also has a Rose Rondo, which is an extremely good skill because the AoE is pretty big. Um, she also has Whip Shot, which has a long AoE in front of you. She has Plant Wall in case you get surrounded by multiple enemies. You can hit those enemies that were in that position. Queen's Whip, not that great for farming, honestly. It's more about planting bait and Rose Rondo. And if you need a teleporter, you have Chasing Strike. So, yeah, that's good. She's definitely good. Like, honestly, this planting bait carries her all the way to meta. Even though she's without that, she would just be great. Well, no, outstanding. But the AoE of that thing is insane. Let's see. Felicia. So Felicia has this skill, Evil Strange. It's not the best for dealing damage, but it has a decent AoE. Orochinagi, excellent for farming. Slaying Spree, good for farming. Again, Spanish is also pretty useful, but only on green, basically, for farming. And that's it. And also the basic enhancer, because you become so fast that you just obliterate everyone in front of you. Oddly enough, it is a single target attack that is going to make you so fast that you're going to deal with the whole wave of enemies, as long as they're melee. She's just great, unfortunately. She doesn't have a teleporter. She doesn't have tracking attacks. Well, technically she does, in the form of Slaying Spree. But it's not like super great to just insta-kill the range attackers, the range enemies. So she just stays on great. Obviously, this one is meta. Huge AoE, huge damage. Need I say more? Basically, it's just 3 skills that she's using. And those are gonna be Death from Above, Carpet Bombing, and Blutex Explosion. Not to mention that Maid of Flame and Incendiary Round also work pretty well. But they are a little bit more, not taxing, but they don't out-track the enemy. So yeah. Let's see, Rin. So Rin has, if I'm not mistaken, 2 skills that actually work for farming. Volt Rush, especially on red because you have the range increase, and Electric Volt, especially with this weapon that increases the AoE constantly. But it's the thing, that's the issue with this weapon. It's not it increases the AoE to its maximum. No, it progressively increases little by little, and that takes some time, and that's not that useful. She has teleporters, if I'm not mistaken. She has the hook, which grabs the enemy, and that's it. She also has the basic enhancer. In my opinion, I would put her on average. Why so? Because you have to do basically this combination of skills. Chain Bolt is not that great. It doesn't have the damage, but I mean, she can perform on daily with this. And sometimes she misses the even though she hits the target and the thunder divides into smaller pieces, sometimes those don't hit the enemies. So yeah, it's like, wow, I hit my target, but that didn't do anything. So average at best. Meta, why meta? I mean, she has a tracking attack that is extremely aggressive in Celestial Fox. She has a very good AoE with Godmao. She has this one needs positioning. This one is not that great. Shosen needs you to be near the enemy. Firefox is auto tracking, which is nice, but you need to do a perfect dodge. And if I'm not mistaken, was it Firefox? Well, that one is the auto attack, but it's not that useful. It's better to use Oboroguruma, in my opinion. And Yudachi is nice, but it has its issues, because if you cast this and you don't exactly control where you're going to teleport and fire. And sometimes the enemies are not positioned in the right place so that you deal the most damage to the enemies. So it's a fine skill if it manages to hit, but usually it doesn't manage to hit multiple enemies. That's what I mean. Even so, Celestial Fox carries her hard, and she has decent AoE in most of her skills. The piercing capability is also pretty important. So yeah, Anna Rose. Anna Rose. I think she can do great. Let's see. So she has Madosen, but that's only to the front. Hyakuretsu-sen. Rymax, pretty good for farming. Darkness, usable on farming. Devour, usable on farming. But she doesn't have a teleporter. I mean, technically she has a teleporter, but it's not. It's a follow-up attack. That's the issue with this teleporter. So I think she goes to great. Unfortunately, the lack of a teleporter or range attacks. I mean, she does have. These are melee attacks with good range, like Devour, Madosen, Hyakuretsu-sen. Ryan is it's considered a range attack, but it's not gonna track those enemies that hit you from far away. So yeah, that's the thing that's preventing her from going higher. Let's see. Uh, you just equip the basic enhancer for range and you eliminate everything. This character is so busted without a buff. This one needs a buff. Like, there are some small caveats with her kit and the lack of leader skill, but she's great for the most part. Like Storm that has a huge AoE and provides good utility and heals. Sword style, Momochi's sword style is going to just make your basics deadly weapons against everything. Well, that's all you need. With 2 skills, she's busted as a farmer. Let's see. This one is, I think great is the right word. Because you need to think on the positioning for the most part. That's the only issue with this character. So, she has fastest shot, which is nice when you know you're not facing a ton of enemies. That's the thing. Bullet Storm is always amazing. Triple Burst is okay, but similar to the like Yuki's Bullet or Ingrid's Dark Flame. Triple Burst is just something that you need to position properly in order to take advantage of this, but it's a pretty good skill. Suicide Drone doesn't have the best damage, doesn't have the best AoE, but it's usable. You just wait for the enemies and then you use the skill and you deal a significant amount of damage. Quad Burst is also usable, and that's about it for the skills that are used for farming. Honestly, this skill is amazing. And it has a short cooldown, so yeah. Outstanding. No, she doesn't have a. Because she's a range attacker, she doesn't have a teleporter, and just requiring a little bit of right positioning will put her on great, honestly, even though I love this character for farming. I would like to put her on a standing, but I'm trying to be a little bit picky so that this is as accurate as possible. I think that she's just okay. Let me think. So, Saka does have. She has Calamity Over, but it's not like a huge cone, it's just a line to the front. Moon Assault helps you to reposition yourself. Hit Kick is not that great because you don't move that far. At least you move, but you don't move that far. Hurricane Kick, on the other hand, is way better. Quake Stomp is pretty nice. Spinning Kick is also nice for farming. But you need to rush in front of the enemy. So basically she's just great. Not outstanding, but great. An auto farmer, we don't need to analyze an auto farmer, do we? I mean, she's fine. Eleanor. Her AoEs are fine for the most part. Like Stampede is pretty good for farming. The only issue, again, positioning properly to hit the most enemies. Geyser Post is usable, Maelstrom is also fine, Acid Rain is amazing, Feral Spirit is usable as a finisher, a Reflective Ray is nice, and Spirit Blood is also usable. Like most of her skills are well designed for farming, but would I say she's great? She's a mid-range attacker. She doesn't have a teleporter. She does have tracking skills. I don't think she's outstanding. I just think she's great at farming. Uh, because you need to position yourself. Because the tracking attacks don't deal as much damage as the ones that you need to position. Like the red one is pretty good, the green one is also pretty good, Maelstrom is pretty good, Acid Rain is pretty good, but for those you need to position yourself. These ones are, as I mentioned, finishers. If the enemies are far away and they're pretty frail, you can just do them. So yeah, she doesn't have a teleporter, so she stays there. Heavyco, nice. So Heavyco has, let's say, 2 skills. 3 don't really matter. Octopus Choke, big AoE, usable, but you have to be in front of the enemy. Windmill, big AoE, but again you have to be in front of the enemy. Octopus Field, huge AoE, deals a ton of damage. Sorry, let me just... I'll drink some water. Huge AoE, pretty good skill, but this is not going to carry her far away. I mean, she's average at best. Yeah, I don't think she can do better than that. Because she doesn't teleport, she pulls enemies. She becomes invisible, but it's not that useful. Spinel. So this one. God, I'm gonna cough like crazy. Let's see. Demonic Arm Swing. This one carries her hard. It is such an amazing skill for farming. Boulder Quake is usable for farming, and Rampage is too. Everything else is not that impressive. Crystal Jarpet can be used, but it's not the greatest. Let's see. She's great, just great. The basic enhancer carries her. Let's see, Lena. I hate this one so much. The AoE is not big enough, in my opinion. It is also it is pretty slow. That's the issue with this skill. Can be used for farming, but not my favorite. She has the huge AoE basic enhancer, which is great. Blinding Storm, Storm Drive, and Cherry Blossom Frenzy. Technically also Raging Tempest, but it's not the best skill. Because you need to be next to the enemies. Great. I mean, technically she has the same kind of basic enhancer as a Spinel. That's the only thing that put her on great. The thing is, she doesn't have a teleporter, and this one at least can run pretty quickly to the enemies. It's not exactly teleported, but it's good. This one doesn't. This one needs to be next to the enemies. But that big AoE, it's pretty good. Okay, on paper she should be better than she's gonna be on paper, because she has 2 skills that are going to track the enemy. Spear Barrage is the better one of the 2. She also has a Skydance with a huge AoE, but that's for melee enemies. Moral Boost can also do the same as Skydance on red. And that's kind of it. I would say she's average because of the damage. Because of the damage of the green and blue. Even while aggressive, she's not that useful. I mean, she can perform, sure. Maybe she can reach great. Mm, it's just that I'm so used to challenging content and the enemies. No, wait. We're doing dailies. She can do it. She can farm. But you have to build her extremely aggressive so that just Spear Barrage is able to obliterate enemies. This is the best one for farming. Um, I mean, if you know you're facing melee, these two are also amazing, but that's the caveat. You have to know you're facing melee enemies. Mm, outstanding? I think so. So usually she wouldn't be outstanding, but one skill carries her hard. So she has Succubus Whisper, which is pretty good for dealing with waves of enemies. They get near you and you just deal with them. She has a Slash Horror to get near the enemy, and then she has Clinging Nether, which obliterates everything. And you don't have to have this skill on full green. That's great. This one is amazing. Just that. Amazing. Francis suboptimal. So Francis has like one skill that can be used effectively for farming. Well, technically two. Hard catch, which start with a big AoE that gathers the enemies in front of her, and then raging shooting. And that's about it. Everything else is not that useful for farming, honestly. Let's see. Natsu. Poor Natsu. I mean, she's a great character, but what does she have for farming? Smoke fan? Thunderclap, kinda. Smoke cloud, which is not that great for dealing damage, but at least it has a big AoE. Oh my god, I wish it was better, but on farming she's average because she, similar to Asagi, is supposed to be a single target character. So yeah, she's not great. Now, Asusa for farming, not that great too. If I'm not mistaken, she doesn't have a teleporter. She does have a dash attack, which is useful. She has Gale Slash, but that animation, those jumps are not great for her, even though she has enough range. Shindara is super useful. Dragonfly is also usable. Let's see. Yeah, it's usable for farming. Double Team is also usable for farming, but that's about it. Like this, and this. And they are not like super fast skills that just obliterate the enemies. I would put her on average. Even though Shindara is super good for farming, you have to wait for the cooldown, so you cannot abuse it. Ragnarok. She's gonna go high, I know, but how high? Useful for farming, useful for farming, useful for farming, useful for farming, useful for farming. Okay, she is definitely outstanding. Even though she doesn't have a teleporter, she has Frosty Gale, which you can use on any color because, I mean, it's the critical rate. And that's pretty good. Yeah, outstanding. Yeah, because she's basically a range attacker for the most part. She's mixed, but most of her attacks are gonna um, go in front and deal big AoEs. So yeah, basically the AoEs are carrying her, in my opinion. I mean, just hit the basic and that's it. What else do you need? Obviously, she's gonna go here. Oh my god. Average or suboptimal? Let me think. So, she does have storm formation, but you need to use it properly on the right part of the chain. She has this one, but it's super slow for farming. Even though it's effective, it's super slow and you have to do it manually and don't release the button. Blast? No. Blinding Barrage. Doesn't deal enough damage, doesn't hit enough enemies, isn't big enough. There's many flaws with that skill. No. This one is not that bad for farming. So basically, she has like two skills that can be used for farming, maybe three. Because well, this one, sure. I'll put her on average because she has a good amount of skills that can be used for farming, but she's not that great at when using them. Even so, basically, the number of skills is carrying her to C. She would be suboptimal otherwise. Kara, I mean, will she be able to reach a good score? This one is good for farming, and this one no. This one would be good for farming if it has higher AoE. No, she's pretty bad for farming. Honestly, the issue with Kara is that these two AoEs are not good enough. This is supposed to make a con, but it is similar to Asuka's skill, the Mach Punch. You can deal tremendous damage, sure, on a cone. If the enemy is just to the right or to the left, you're not gonna hit. Nice. So no, this is not a great character for farming. This one is great, I think. Notwithstanding, just great. Because of the huge AoE and damage that she can deal. The issue is she doesn't have a teleporter and she's pretty slow for the most part. So, Palong, Tuofei, it's Huoshu, I think. Ying Long too. This one, no. I mean, it's good if you know the enemies in front of you, but not for the most part. And this one, Longma? No. Basically, these four skills are the ones that you want to use for farming. She's slow, but she has good damage and good AoEs. So, yeah, great. For farming, white, slow, and she only has Portents of Death and Yaksha Unbound. And Purple Cannon, I guess. Average for farming, honestly. Yeah, she's average for farming. Now, let's go to single content. On single content, we need to take into account survivability, damage, and what the character is supposed to do. So, Asagi goes to great. The thing is, she cannot go to outstanding because she's pretty basic. I mean, she's a year-round character, so obviously she's gonna be basic. But at least she's cohesive. She's supposed to slow down the enemies, and you take advantage of that, and you just deal a ton of damage. You slow them down even further with Monica, I think, or reduce their defense. If I'm not mistaken, it's Monica. Monica, yeah. You have used Kojinka, and then you use your basics on the enemy. Pretty good character for the most part, cohesive, but she only does that one trick. Sakura. Honestly, I'm gonna put her on great. The weapons carry her. What does she have? She has HP recovery. She has good damage. And that's it on her kit, basically. Because she uses one of the worst debuffs in the game in the form of a snare. She does have good utility on Shadow Flame, but that's about it. And then we have the weapons that really carry her hard. The ability to just disarm the enemy is amazing. This debuff is also pretty good. The same can be said about this one. And then we have an anti-human and the critical damage increase on the butterfly weapon. It's good. It's good. What else do we have? Yuki's awful, unfortunately, suboptimal. Why so? Why is she bad? She has the HP recovery, sure. and she has a nice effect on Fire Creek and the new weapon, which I don't think I have. She also has the butterfly weapon. Yeah, honestly, she doesn't have much for herself. The AoE of the basics are awful. Most of the AoEs of the skills are pretty bad. Like this one, not my favorite. Shinden is also not that great. Similar to Rinko's skill, it can just miss the enemies if they are too close to you. Ryudan is probably one of the best skills. And Hiraiten, like this one, this one, and this one are the three skills that she can use pretty well. And that's it. Everything else is kind of awkward in some way or another, so yeah, sorry. I think Rinko is average. So what's the issue with Rinko? Basically, it's two things. HP recovery, she does have HP recovery, but only one color. And basically you have to drop the main damaging skill of that color, which is awful. And then she has a lack of super armor, which is compensated with the weapon, but not easily abused. Like this weapon can compensate for that, but as I said, not easily abused. Shoten is super busted, and you can use Wind Slicer on green to just demolish enemies. Mugengyo is nice, but again, similar to Yuki, if the enemy is too close, you can cast this and not hit the enemy. That's awful. The buffs are extremely good on green for these two skills. The 100% speed reduction, it's usable and silly, but for the most part, it's not that great of a character. She's supposed to deal insane damage, have a ton of multi-hit, and break the super armor. But she doesn't break the super armor as fast. If she had an integrated Asuka effect, she wouldn't need the super armor. So there's two things Screamer can do: add super armor or make her break the super armor faster. Okay, outstanding. I know this is a controversial pick. I know BD and Corner are going to say that I'm crazy. But let me tell you why she goes here. She is definitely good, self-sufficient, proficient, sure. But the DPS is the issue. Let's analyze Murasaki. She's able to inflict a hefty debuff with Tentacle Mine. She's able to slow the enemy on green. She's able to restore HP like crazy on green. She's able to restore HP on any color if you have the counter. She deals decent damage with Senpu, but that's about it. It's decent, not busted. And that's basically it. Rengenki is okay at dealing damage. The issue is that since it deals multiple hits, it's not supposed to deal super busted damage. It's supposed to deal damage consistently. And if you connect all hits, it deals great damage. But if the enemy has super armor, they can just move around and they just can omit a bunch of the attacks. So yeah, that's not great. Setsuga is also pretty good for the damaging skill. You expose yourself a little bit, but it's worth it, honestly. Another issue with Murasaki is that she's slow. So basically, it's just the DPS. She can deal damage and she can beat the stages. She can beat anything, sure. But can she beat it on the same amount of time as one of the busted attackers that we have right now, like Ana Rose, Sora, Saika? Can she deal that much damage in the same amount of time? No, she can't. That's the issue nowadays. The game has evolved and we have very aggressive attackers. Murasaki either needs a ton of utility, even more utility than she has, to compensate for that lack of damage, or to rework her skills a little bit. Like, honestly, Being able to ensnare the enemies with each hit of this attack would be extremely useful, honestly. It's just a small tweak, but that would work so that she can deal all the hits. Um, and maybe making maybe adding the restoration effect on any color and giving her something extremely aggressive on a great example on green, particularly to compensate for the fact that we have a supportive damaging a supportive main green skill. So yeah, it is just a matter of damage, honestly. I know it's controversial. I know a ton of people are not going to agree with this, but that's why I added the new tier list. So yeah, let's see. Um, what do we have here? Su. Su is great. Not outstanding, just great. Why so? She has a ton of utility, but she doesn't have healing. She can reduce damage and she can have the super armor, but again, that healing prevents her from going higher. She has defense reduction on red, hefty defense reduction on red, hefty defense reduction on blue. She has a way to get near the enemy, and she has a way to buff herself even further on red. She has damage reduction integrated on the kit with super armor. She has good damage with this skill and this skill, so yeah, she's pretty decent. The only caveat is HP recovery. Oh, Shiranui. I want to go with suboptimal, honestly. The thing with Shiranui is that she doesn't offer anything at all. She's just a bit stick. Similar to Lan. She doesn't have anything else to offer. She does damage and that's it. No amazing buffs, no amazing debuffs onto the enemy, or a unique mechanic or gimmick. She just deals damage and that's it. Um, she's okay at doing that role, but she doesn't offer anything else. That's the issue. Yuki and Shiranui. No. What happened to this family? Okay. Okay, this one is going to go to outstanding because of the versatility. The issue with Emily is that she has to have really hefty gear, and you need a good amount of skins so that she can deal decent damage. That's the problem with Emily. Like, you need to build her a ton, because since she attacks super fast, she isn't going to deal that much damage because of the basics. Also, her axe impact is nice on paper, but you expose yourself because you're technically a ranged attacker. She does have self-healing, which is okay. Round Slicer is probably the best damaging skill she has for main colors. She has another way to heal herself on blue. She has buffs for herself. She has debuffs for the enemies. She has a constant wave of attacks with homing bullets. Like, she's super good. Not to mention the weapons. She can buff herself or the party. She has anti-machine UR weapon. She has increased skill damage. She has, since she's super fast as attacking, she has the Momochi weapon. She also has an anti-demon weapon. I mean, versatility? Sure, that's a 10 out of 10. Damage? A little bit shy of being meta, honestly. Yeah, that's the thing. These two characters are great, but damage is the issue. Like, this year shifted how much damage we needed to deal, so it kind of makes sense. Kurenai, outstanding, or just great. I think the weapons push her to outstanding. She's a single target attacker. Of course, she's gonna do great. She has basically all her weapons, not all her weapons, most of her weapons, the Momochi one, the Coronets of Supremacy, the Grand House Special, Twin Sword IR and UV, and also Dainsleaf. All of these weapons are super good. Then, for skills, well, colors, talking about colors, green is amazing, blue is usable, Gale slash the red one, usable, not the greatest, but usable. Not my favorite. She has a way to heal herself, and now that they allow us to activate the counter by ourselves and take advantage of the defense down or the HP recovery, that's super useful. She has a super buff. She has this one. Kamitachi is not a good skill because of the damage it deals or how it works, but rather that it helps you synergize with other skills. So it is appreciated, trust me. And Stormfang is also pretty good. It has great utility and a great effect by pulling the enemies. So yeah, this character is outstanding on solo content. Obor is meta. She can just stop the enemies. Sorry, I keep hitting the table. She can stop the enemies. And that's basically it. The ability to stop the enemies is insane. Not to mention that she has a critical weapon, an SR critical weapon, and that Skull Face gives her the HP recovery she needs. She needs, I say, but she doesn't need it because she stops the enemies and then you don't get hit. So, yeah, she's just busted. Asuka. Oh god, Asuka. So, good weapon, usable weapon, good weapon. This one is also okay for Asuka, but it is not like something that you want to use a lot. You prefer the HP recovery with this weapon or the damage increase with this one. I think she's just great because she's a good damage dealer, pretty good damage dealer. Kilomol Maces is amazing with the defense reduction. The damage of Mac Impact is good. Toss Cyclone is good. This one is good. The effects are good. The fact that it's a counter is not that great, but it's usable. Wind Slice are good. Wind God is good. Bomb Escape is good. Like, she has a ton of good things. The thing that prevents her from going higher is that if we take away the weapons, the special weapons, basically these two, she lacks HP recovery and she lacks insane damage. The weapon that gives her insane damage is this one. And as I mentioned, I'm doing an average. These ones there are not enough weapons to push her to the next tier. So yeah. Kirara for solo content. I think she's not gonna do that great. She does have the limited weapon, and she does have Love is Drop, which are great. She lacks HP recovery by herself. The weapons compensate for that. Free Year Stone is pretty useful. Blossoming Foam and Crystal Ice are useful. Snowbill usable. Snow Leopard usable. Snow Leopard Print usable. Glacier Drop also usable. But I keep saying the same, usable. The fact that she's slow is pretty bad. The fact that she's melee and she doesn't have teleporters or tracking attack is also pretty bad. The best, she could go to great at best. Yeah, but she's not good enough to go to outstanding, nor is it so terribly bad that she goes to average. Ingrid. Outstanding. She has very aggressive buffs on green with these two skills. She is able to track the enemy's teleport. She can deal pretty good damage with all of her skills. She has an amazing plethora of weapons that she can use and abuse. So yeah, and she has really good stats for the most part. She doesn't have healing, but she can finish the stages pretty quickly by dealing an absurd amount of damage. and you can compensate the lack of healing with supporters. Um, hmm, let's see. No. So she has integrated penetration. She has healing on blue, and she becomes really tanky. She is really aggressive on green. Uh, she has defense reduction on green. This increased damage against enemy on red. The debilate effect, which is extremely niche, not super useful. Great, average, just great. Not average, but just great. Meta, outstanding. Outstanding. Yeah, she's not meta. I can tell you that she's not meta. But she's outstanding, especially because of her mobility. She doesn't have as much damage as she used to be. As she used to have. She still has really good weapons, which allows her to increase her score definitely. She has good skills in Serpent Blaze, Hell Blaze, and Supernova. She can do whatever you want. She can go next to the enemy or just far away from the enemy. She can reposition herself. She can take advantage of someone's, like, she's amazing. But she doesn't have the damage to go to meta. That's the issue with this one. Outstanding. So ever after her renewal, she became really good. The ability to pierce the enemies and deal with waves of enemies is extremely useful. She has always had a great skill in Squall, and it deals tremendous damage. The debuffs are insane on green over here, not to mention Hummingbird. She can deal with multiple enemies and also deal tremendous damage to a single enemy with this skill. This one is also pretty good because it's faster. It has the additional attacks, but it's not as punishing as it used to be. So that's pretty good. The issue with this character is the survivability. And she has pretty good weapons in Mechanical Dark Knife. She also has Former and Age, which can heal her if I'm not mistaken. Let's see, does she have healing with this one? Age, skill, malice disappear, restores HP. Yeah, she can restore HP. She has an anti-human weapon. Yeah, the weapons give her that edge that she needs to go to outstanding. Without them, she would just be on great. Meta or outstanding? No, she's outstanding. She has big AoEs, defense reduction, healing, self-sufficient. She can reduce the speed of the enemy, if I'm not mistaken, with blue. And she can also reduce damage taken. Let's see. Increases speed, reduces speed always, reduces speed of the enemy, reduces speed of the enemy, plant the seed bomb, yeah. Reduce the enemy's damage, yeah. She's pretty self-sufficient, but she doesn't have the damage to go up. Outstanding. She works on any color. She's a better tank and support on blue, and the other colors are more aggressive. She can just demolish the competition, as simple as that. And not to mention that she has excellent weapons in the form of Nightfall, the Momochi weapon, and Reaper's Wing. And yeah, she has an anti-trait weapon. So yeah, she's outstanding. It's good that we have so many characters in outstanding and so little on average or suboptimal. Meta, the damage she deals is amazing. I have always said that she doesn't care about HP recovery because she can deal so much damage that she breaks super armor and she keeps enemies in place. Not to mention that whenever the enemies get near her, she can use carpet bombing. She also reduces the defense of the enemy. She has striking attacks. She works on any color. So, and on top of that insane damage, she gets even more damage if the enemy is born, and she can burn the enemy by herself. So, tell me if you think I'm mistaken, but I think she's pretty good. Um, let's see. Urehara Rin. Rin, I mean, her basics are usable, sure. She can abuse the Momochi weapon, but all the other weapons are not that great for her. Maybe the anti-human weapon, but Fragarak is not that important, honestly. Uh, so we have what exactly for her? Electric Volt, Volt Whip. Volt Whip is not that bad, but neither is it great. Electric Volt is nice, but you really need to use aggressive support to make this usable. Volt Rush is fine. Soaring Swallow is fine on green only. Volt Hook, not that great. Usable on red, but not that great for the most part. Voltage Spin is usable. And Denki is situational. That's the issue with Denki. Chain Bolt is okay just to inflict the electrocute, but that's about it. So I would put this one on average. Unfortunately, she needs a buff tremendously. Meta, you know, she deals an insane amount of damage. Her AoEs are fine, her skills are good, so yeah. The same can be said about this one. Insane effect, HP recovery. This one also has HP recovery, by the way. Sora has HP recovery and also Rose. She has a slow, she has a follow-up teleporter, she has a ton of damage, great weapons in the form of the butterfly weapon and the Momochi weapon and the renewal weapon, and also you can use the limited weapon. So yeah, this one, you know it. She also has great skills. Basically, the weapons first. Great weapon, great weapon, great weapon. So you can guess she's amazing. She has great basic enhancers, a great dash attack, great buffing healing skill with huge AoE, decent damage, pretty good damage, usable, and it deals good damage, and when properly built it can be devastating. Centipede at least reduces the defense of the enemy, that's a usable effect. The increased damage of Wasp is fine, but it's situational, that's the issue with that one. And Flame is the one that I don't like that much. The best effect is the blue one, but well, it's usable. I won't deny that it is usable. So yeah, this one is insane. Insane damage. Who would have guessed? Hitting twice, it's insane. Let's see. Aina. I think Aina is great. She's barely self-sufficient because she has a healing, but it's a healing area on a dodge. So yeah, not that great. She does have good damage when going red. Bullet Storm is also amazing. Fastest Shot is super good, and Bullet Dance can be used to deal a good amount of damage. Basically, it's these ones and Drone Shooter. Let's see, what else do we have? Seka, Busted, the best attacker in the game right now. Great leader skill, great weapons in the form of Booster Graves. Unfortunately, that killed Ariel, but Ariel is still a good weapon if you have that one. And let's see, she has healing, she has healing, she has disarm, she has a buff, she has a range attack, great damage on all the skills. She can abuse the stun when you go rainbow. She has a dash attack that recovers HP on blue. I mean, did I say more? She's pretty good. She only doesn't recover HP on red, and for that you use Susune. Outstanding. This one is outstanding. What's the thing with this one? It can be a tank, it can deal damage, it can slow the enemy, because that's basically green, red, and blue. No, green, blue, and red. Red is the slow. And she's an auto farmer, but she can auto the skills. It's basically about building her. And you can just equip the healing skill in case of an emergency. So yeah, she's pretty good and self-sufficient. Auto-sufficient. Let's see. I think she's okay. Talking about solo, she's not that great because she doesn't have healing. She's frail and she's a mid-range attacker. That really subtract points from her score, honestly. But she does have good weapons in the form of Deep Ocean, the Momochi weapon, and also Guide of the Starry Sea. Unfortunately, the SRs are not helping. Uh, Reflective Raid usable, Stampede usable, Mainstorm usable, Geyser Burst usable, Acid Raid usable, and Aqua Curtain very good for solo content. But the lack of healing while being mid-range really takes from this one. Average? Great. The weapons barely push her to the great category, and I say barely. This one is average. I know it already. I remember. I did this once before, but I wasn't satisfied with the result on tier list, so I am doing this again. And I remember that Heaviko is just average because of the utility she provides. That pushes her just a little bit to become average. The octopus choke, the invisibility, the octopus field, and the damage of slicer. Ink is good at dealing damage, but the AoE is awful. If this is NERD, the enemy, and had a bigger AoE, it will be great. But it is not the case. So yeah. I mean, this one is outstanding, no doubt about that. It doesn't have the damage. I mean, after the renewal of Sora, the meta shifted completely. What's the name? Spinel used to be the best damaging character in the game, but now she isn't, and she deserves to get back into the game. But well, she has good damage. She has a good leader skill that increases the damage of the party and herself. She can become extremely fast. She can reduce the defense of the enemy. Yeah, she decreases the defense of the enemy. So, yeah, the basic. Yeah, she's outstanding, no doubt about that. Even though she doesn't have healing, she has insane damage to compensate for that. This one is basically a copycat of Spinel. That's what I don't like about Lina. Which means she is also outstanding. She has healing. She has great basics. She can also do a super buff strategy on blue. Her red is going to debuff the defense of the enemy, which is appreciated and increases your damage. The only weak chain in this character is gonna be the green build, but she's definitely outstanding, no doubt. Outstanding. On solo content, she's super good with red, and she's self-sufficient on green and blue. But green and blue don't deal enough damage to consider her meta. She just survives, and that's good. Basically, that's it. Let's see, what else? Meta, no doubt about that. She debuffs the enemies with two kinds of defense reduction, the one from the leader skill and the other one from the leader skill. She has great weapons in the Momochi weapon, the Falling Heart, and this one is fine, it's not great, but Falling Heart and the Momochi weapon are super good. We also have great HP recovery, a buffing skill with a big AoE that deals multiple hits, a great dash attack, a mirage in case you need, a decoy in case you need to relieve some pressure, a great tracking attack, and also great debuffs with the super slow. So yeah, this is a great character. Francis suboptimal. She can't do anything without her weapon. Honestly, like she doesn't do anything. She's just another generic basic similar to Shirley if she doesn't have the Berserker mode, so that's awful. This one is outstanding. The thing is, this one is a single damage dealer, so of course she's gonna do fine. And the critical weapon, when a character has a critical weapon, they're about to be good. The Divine is really not that bad either. The Momochi weapon is also pretty good. So yeah, this character is amazing. She has a buff, she has healing, not the best healing, but usable because of how fast she is. Shattering Bone is disgustingly broken. Thunderclap is good. The basic enhancer enhances the speed, which is very good for her. She has the HP recovery with this one too, and she has great utility with Smoke Cloud. So and Drifting Illusion too. Yeah, she's amazing. She's amazing. Let's see. Asusa is also outstanding because of the damage. She doesn't have like a great identity, like a well-defined identity. She just deals good damage. Those have slow on blue and summons the Shikigami, but that's it. She does have two skills that provide healing, if I'm not mistaken. Reduce the speed. No, this one is the one that gives healing, and it's max HP healing on top of that. I mean, she has damage increase on red. Yeah, that was another thing. So that's pretty good. No, she's fine. She's fine. Let's see. So she stays on outstanding. Meta, I mean, recovers HP when attacking an enemy that is frozen, and she freezes the enemy with most of her skills. She has huge AoE, she has huge damage, she has speed increase for her, and also speed reduction. Let's see, was it the speed reduction? Increases speed on red, increases speed on red, increase damage on green, reduce the cooldown, reduce the speed of the enemy. Yeah, she has a speed reduction on blue. I mean, she's the whole package. Great. Let me think. So she debuffs the enemies. Oh no, she's outstanding. The damage she does in green is insane. That was the thing. So she has the defense reduction on blue. Most of her kit is gonna do that. She has great mobility, just like Astaroth, and she has insane damage on green. Red is the weak chain of this character, but it's fine. The weak link. That's the phrase. Let's see. Then, oh yeah. Average because she has some amount of utility, but that's it. She doesn't have like enough to go beyond that point. What does she has in terms of utility? She has the speed reduction and the damage increase, the defense reduction and speed reduction, the defense reduction over here, the defense reduction over here. Like she has some good effects, but the skills are not that great. HP restoration. Yeah, honestly, if she, I don't know, she's supposed to have good effects, but I don't think they synergize well because this is green, this is blue and red, this one is green, but it's again the 30%, it's the same because if you can double stack that will be fine, but if you don't, it's not that great. So yeah, well, she's just average. Suboptimal. Design as Astaroth, like being a range attacker with that extreme mobility. No, she doesn't have the same amount of mobility, but she has good mobility. But she's extremely frail while being a melee character, so with no HP recovery. Well, technically she has HP recovery, but it's extremely bad. Like, look at this. It's an AoE attack. Nice! that recovers HP 2% of lost HP. If it was damage dealt to the enemies, which is not a great damaging skill by the way, but at least it would recover a lot of HP. But no, that's not the case. So yeah, even though she's supposed to have insane damage, if you die, then it's not useful to have that much damage. Outstanding. Basically, she's outstanding because of her damage and the fact that she's a dual element user. She uses electrocute and burn, but she doesn't have a good amount of self buffs, especially the damage increase self buffs or defense reduction debuffs. Electrocute is kind of a defense reduction, but she does have the damage increase of the leader skill, but that's the only one because she would be too busted if she had more. But that's what prevents her from being like meta. And at the same time, the speed is another important factor to take into consideration. Is she reaches average, but just barely. Let me tell you why. She reaches average because she has basically Yaksha's Judgment. The damage this skill deals is insane. The healing is not the greatest. She needs a ton of healing skills, considering how frail she is. She also needs to become tankier because she dies too quickly. I mean, become tankier after the activation of the skill. And she has great debuffs on blue, but that's about it. So average. Now let's finish with team content. Team content is gonna be different because you need to provide utility to your team or to excel at your role. For example, let's say Mike is a damage dealer. She's not going to provide utility. Technically she does, because she does reduce the defense of the enemy, which is great. But her main role is to be a damage dealer. If she's good at that, well, she's gonna go to the top, because she's supposed to perform a role on a team, and if she does that well, she goes up. On that regard, Asagi is great, even though technically she's a one-trick character, because she can only slow the enemy and use defense down or further slow the enemy with Monica. That's all she needs. And on top of that, she can equip the Momochi weapon to help out the team and equip supportive supporters to help out the team. So yeah, a one-trick character that does well. Sakura, she's also great. Same argument as the single target solo content. She has good utility. She even gets a little bit more value thanks to the Ensnare. On team content is a little bit more useful. The speed reduction, 30% speed reduction, is amazing on 15 seconds. The ability to heal herself, pretty appreciated. And more importantly, the weapons. This weapon, and this weapon are super good for team content. So yeah, that's pretty good. Honestly, just how impactful those weapons are on team content carries her hard over here, because she has a plethora of weapons, and even if we average, the weight of those three is significant. Suboptimal, I'm sorry for Yuki, honestly, I'm really sorry for Yuki, because she only has what? The ability to apply the Momochi weapon, the Greek Fire to break super armor, increased damage when you break the super armor. Wow, super impactful. And speed reduction on red on one skill, and that's it. Reduce the enemy's speed on a counter. Yeah, just what I wanted for my ranged attacker, a counter skill. Yeah, so awful, not synergistic. Um, oh, this one barely average on team content, barely. She does have the Momochi weapon to help out, but that's the only weapon that really helps out. Maybe Chosen, because the main skill that's helping the team is Wind Slicer with that hefty defense reduction. Other than that, maybe the Voice Slash on Red, but only if you pilot her or you devise a strategy that abuses that debuff, which is not that great. That's why she barely reaches average. Honestly, she would go to suboptimal, but I'll let her stay over there. Murasaki meta. Why meta? I mean, she is one of the best counters in the game. She has excellent utility with the green skill, the Tentacle Mine, and she also further slows the enemy with Tentacle Anchor and Tentacle Hold. Even though she's only going to use green, the utility she provides on green is significant. And the fact that she's not gonna die is also important because she performs her counter role extremely well. She's not going to be a damage dealer, but she does what she's supposed to do. Su. I would say great. She cannot go to outstanding. She's just doing what she's supposed to. She's debuffing the enemy, and that's it. The issue is she would even drop to average if we didn't have the ability to use healers on the team. Because on team content, enemies have more damage and more HP, and she would just die pretty quickly if not for a healer. So fortunately she can stay right there thanks to the utility on the debuffs she provides. I mean, hefty defense downs are pretty impactful, honestly. Especially the ability to just do it from afar, that's also pretty good. Um, and again, the ability to, let's just say, she has the Momochi weapon too, that's also pretty good. And the ability to equip whatever supports you need to just help the party. Let's see. Suboptimal. Again, she doesn't offer anything. She just deals damage and that's it. And she's not that great at dealing damage. Meta or outstanding? Meta or outstanding? She does so many things. She does whatever you need except damage. I mean, because of the versatility, she goes over here. As I mentioned, she can do whatever, buff, debuff, slow the enemy. Like she's a ton of things at once. She's good. She's extremely good. I would not say outstanding. I would say great. Her viability is reduced. She's a great damage dealer, but on terms of team utility, she's not that useful. She has speed reduction, defense reduction on a counter that the AI may not use properly, and that's it. Basically, the penetration of the weapon is super impactful. Basically, yeah, she is a damage dealer that also has utility, but her damage isn't good enough to be on outstanding, in my opinion. She has good damage, but not as good. I mean, obviously the character that stops the enemy on its tracks is going to be on meta. Asuka, I think drops to average. She can deal a tremendous amount of damage, sure. But the utility she provides is not that great for team content, other than kill 'em all missiles. This one is good on team content when using the green build. The damage is also fine on this one, but the damage on the other colors is not that useful on team content. Especially rendering storm, you can just interrupt the steals. Yeah, I think she's dropping a little bit. The speed reduction, yeah, you're not gonna. I mean, you can use strategies that use speed reduction, but you're not gonna abuse them. Yeah, she is. But she has the team utility on blue for speed reduction strategies. I think she can go to great because of the synergies you can do, but barely, honestly, barely she goes to great. Um, this one is either great or outstanding on team content. Honestly, Kirara is a very good supporter. She needs healing, but you can compensate that with supporters or another character. Frigid Zone is extremely useful, and Glacier Drop is going to freeze the enemy on blue. This one reduces the defense of the enemy on red. This one reduces the defense of the enemy on green, and that's extremely useful. In terms of damage, she can at least deal some amount of damage on blue or green. Outstanding? No, just great, just great. Ingrid, outstanding on team content? No, just great. She deals decent damage. She performs her role as a damage dealer and that's it. But her stats give her the great status. Let's see. Noah. We know she has penetration. We know she has good damage and healing. She has the defense reduction over here, the damage increase over here, and over here too. But I would just put her on average, honestly. She deals damage, but it's not insane damage. And she doesn't have like as many weapons that give her great versatility. She's just average, she's fine. Outstanding? I think she drops to great. Let's see. Astaroth. Her damage is not insane, unless you're using Supernova. Her utility, she has obviously the Momochi weapon. She has this one that enhances crits. She has these two great weapons, sure. She can terrorize the enemy, reduce the enemy damage, reduce the enemy's speed. No, she's just great. She's just great. She's not outstanding on team content, especially if you let the AI control her. This one is outstanding. Barely. Just this shy from being meta. The utility she has is amazing. Like, she gets carried by green. She can also be used on red. And blue, you can also use it if you want to use her as an attacker, but mainly you're gonna go either red or green for Tokiko. She's just an excellent debuffer. Not to mention the mechanical dart knife. Also outstanding. What can I say? Healing, buffs with the roses, Rose Rondo to debuff, and buff if you have the weapon. Red is going to debuff the enemy with defense down. Blue is going to debuff the enemy with slow. She has a healing area. She's just amazing. Also outstanding. The one caveat is that she needs to be able to debuff the enemy, and some enemies are immune to debuffs. So that's a thing. But she's an excellent healer. She slows the enemy. She deals good damage on red. She can become an excellent supporter on blue. She can do whatever you want, honestly. Meta? I mean, she's only going... No, yeah, she's meta. She is going to deal great damage as usual. And on top of that, red is going to allow you to increase the damage of the whole party by applying a debuff. Need I say more? I mean, defense down is just great on red. And she works on any color, by the way. That's another good thing. And the AI uses this character well on red and kind of okay on green. Not good on blue, just so that you know. Let's see. Green again. Let's see. Utility. She has electrocute. What else? She has slowdown. Let's see. Let's check green. She has HP recovery by herself. Electrocute on blue or green. And also red on any color. Speed reduction on blue. Speed reduction on green. Speed reduction on red. She has a speed reduction on any color and electrocute on any color. But that's about it. One speed reduction for any color and one electrocute for any color. And that's it. So average. Meta, I mean, the insane damage that breaks the super armor and keeps the enemy in place is just amazing. The ability to break the super armor is insane. So yeah, with raw damage on top of that. So she performs super well. She's meta. And well, she has a couple more things on top of that. If I'm not mistaken, let's see, does she has steel? She ensnares the enemy. That can be pretty useful. She's not gonna use it that often, but the utility is appreciated. And the ability to deal with waves of enemies, yeah, it's just good. She performs her role by breaking the super armor with raw damage. This one is also pretty good. But wait, no, yeah. Now that I remember it, there's a couple things that we have to highlight about this one. It's not just the damage, the speed reduction, the defense reduction, the where is it? The defense reduction, the reduce the speed reduction for 10 seconds, 30%, the defense reduction on red. God, like she has so many debuffs and damage that it is just insane. Okay. I think she drops on team content. Can I? She has the damage to be over here on meta, but there's one thing to take into consideration. Let's check those effects. She isn't like super synergistic on the effects. She has good effects, but you don't do like super debuff on red or super buff on blue. No. It's like she has a little bit of everything on every color. Damage increase on blue. Damage increase on red. Increases speed on blue. Reduce the enemy's defense on green. Reduce the enemy's defense on green. Reduce the enemy's speed on green. Increase your damage on red. You see how everything is lost, like not synergistic? Like you have these two that give you a nice damage increase, but this is a counter, not the best to activate. And this one is, it has an insane 30% damage increase, sure. Do you have anything else like a defense reduction or another damage increase? No, you don't, because it is too high. So you don't super buff yourself like Spinel does and kind of use the Kana or Melt. But it doesn't offer utility to the team. She has the damage. She performs well. But just as a damage dealer, she doesn't do anything else like these ones. This one, it's just raw damage, but her damage is insane and that breaks super armor and that helps. So yeah, this one debuffs, this one also debuffs. So she drops just because of the lack of utility, like synergistic utility. Let's see. Average? She has the damage, sure, but she doesn't do anything special right now. I bet she's gonna receive a nice renewal. I hope she does. Because she only has damage and HP recovery, and that's pretty average for the most part. She doesn't like reduce the defense of the enemy, buff herself, apply a snare, or any form of control, anything at all. She's okay at dealing damage, but that's it. Instant damage. Oh, the disarm. That's also pretty good. Let's see what else. We have the disarm. Speed increase, HP restoration, reduce the enemy's damage, not that useful, increase your damage, decrease the defense of the enemy, increase the critical damage taken. I mean, basically she does so much damage that she can do exactly the same as Sora, and I could put her over there. But she also has a couple bit more of utility by applying the defense reduction, and she buffs herself, and she applies the disarm on top of that. Outstanding. This one is outstanding. It's exactly the same as the solo. She can perform multiple roles: tank, damage dealer, or slow supporter. So that's pretty useful. And she has healing. As a supporter, no, Eleanor reaches great because she can be a supporter or damage dealer. She's not outstanding at any of those roles, but she can perform, and that's what matters. Because she ensnares the enemies with Guide of the Sorcery and the red skill. She can break the super armor easily with the red skill, reflective ray, and the white feather Aska. She can deal decent damage with Stampede or the blue skill. She can, what's the other one? She can use the Momochi weapon effectively. So yeah, she has various roles, and that's helped her to go to great. Average. She exactly the same thing that kept her on average on the single content keeps her over there because she has the taunt and she has the ensnare, and that's it. That's good enough utility for the team, even though she doesn't have the damage or the healing or anything else. Outstanding. The ability to buff the whole team is already good, and she deals great damage, so she goes over here, no doubt about that. Lena, on the other hand, drops compared to Spinel. She deals great damage, sure, and she also debuffs the enemy a little bit, not that much, just a little bit with red. But the buff for the party is more impactful than the debuff. You can do the same with other characters. This one is meta. On team content, she is the best healer, the de facto healer, the one that you want to use always. Because her healing is not dependent on debuffs. It depends on the healing Lapis receives, and she can heal with damage or by using her healing area. Phantasma, again, super good because of the debuffs and buffs she provides, and the survivability she has. Amazing. Suboptimal because she doesn't offer anything to the team other than damage. She's a bit stick and a non-functional big stick at that. Outstanding. Let me show you why she's outstanding. So we already know she deals a good amount of damage, pretty good damage. I cannot show you, but on my last Total War, she dealt like on where is she? Where is here? She dealt a grand total of 9 9.5 million damage, something like that. 9.5 million. Yeah, so she deals tremendous damage. But not only that, Inagi also has the ability to make your team tankier. She provides healing, and it's only going to work for those who are within the smoke, but if you use two counters, then that's fine. And this is going to give fortitude for her and the character who is on the smoke, and also this one is going to give you more fortitude. It's like a pseudo invincibility that helps you with survivability. It's usable. It's definitely usable. And powered reliefs, drifting illusion. So she has great effects. Yeah, she's outstanding on that part because she can do damage and she can support the team. Uh, Great, just great. She deals good damage and she has utility by slowing the enemy or dealing tremendous damage. But her utility isn't on par with something like the Spinel that buffs your team, or the, let's say, these three. No, she's not on par with that utility. Outstanding. Here's damage and the ability to freeze that helps out the whole team, and the multi hits that constantly freeze the enemy and keep that utility going on. It is just great. Damage and utility. What else do you need? This one, would I say outstanding still? No, I would say great because her utility relies. No, I forgot about the weapons. That would put her on outstanding. Yeah, I was gonna say great because she only has basically the blue build. She does have the green one if you want to build her as a damage dealer, but she doesn't super buff herself unlike other characters, and she's not Saika, Sora, or Anaros. So yeah, she's not dealing that much damage. But she has the blue build to just decrease the defense of the enemy with spread shot, with riot tackle, and then I remembered that she has both the Heimdall and the Momochi weapon to obliterate the defense of the enemy. Yeah, sure, usable. So yeah, she's great. Basically, the two weapons enhance her. Just increase the tier for her. This one has good enough utility to go to average again. Exactly the same reason. A ton of defense down on various effects, on various skills, and also the speed reduction, which is helpful. But that's it, and it's not like super impactful. It's just a little bit useful. A selfish character who doesn't apply any kind of debuffs to the enemies, doesn't buff the team. I mean, she does buff the team with the ambitious weapon, but not everyone is gonna have the ambitious weapon, and she's not even good at dealing damage. This one is just great. Not outstanding, just great. Because she deals tremendous damage and she applied the two element debuffs, but she's not gonna help out the party with buffs or debuffs. But yeah, the damage is definitely fine. This one reaches average because of the blue build. Basically, the blue build carries her because the fact that she has Answer and 3 forms of defense reduction makes her usable. So yeah, that's about it. Let's see. It's a good thing that most characters are not on the average or suboptimal section. Like, obviously, farming is a different thing because characters heavily depend on big AoEs to actually have a good score over here. But as we can see, there's few characters that are, oh my god. This one changed a little bit. But generally speaking, these 4 characters are pretty bad. God, that's bad. And these ones, we can see Rinko over there. She needs the super armor. or the ability to break the enemy super armor like crazy. That's also viable. Um, Heavy Con it's above. Lan it's above. The newest character needs a buff. God, why? White. Why? Um, but in general, it's fine. Like, look at these amazing meta characters that we have. I mean, I know that people are gonna say that I'm too generous with Micah, but insane damage. This is similar to Sora. You just break the super armor, the enemy doesn't move, and they can't do anything at all, and you just obliterate them. Insane damage is always going to be on top, and simple as that. And utility. It's a shame that Murasaki slightly drop because of the lack of damage on solo content. Like, she is able to just clear anything, but saying that she demolishes any kind of content isn't quite accurate. She isn't going to do uh, the same score, the same time as other characters like Ragnarok, Micah, Sora, Saika, and Rose. And even a good Azeroth can do things faster than Murasaki. She's not going to die. That's her appeal. But anyways, let me know what you think in the comments. Let me know if you agree, if you disagree, if you would change some things. What things do you think I omitted when grading these characters? Let me know anything. And that's it for today. And I'll be seeing you next time. Bye.